It's September 8th, which means it's the first ever 988 day. And on this day, the theme is no judgment, just help. People are celebrating 988 day by raising awareness about 988 and how it's an effective public health intervention tool for emotional crisis and distress. One of the ways that I wanted to celebrate 988 Day is to create this video. And in this video, we're going to cover what is 988. We're going to talk about the success of 988, and we're also going to cover some of the statistics. So what is 988? It's a 3-digit crisis line in the United States, and it was started in July 2022. And what this does is it routes callers to the National Suicide Prevention and Mental Health Crisis Lifeline. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline provides free and confidential emotional support to people who are in suicidal crisis or emotional distress. This lifeline is available 24/7, 365 days a year, and it's available all across the US. One of the questions that I've seen come up a lot is, if somebody calls in to 988, will first responders like emergency medical services or law enforcement like the police automatically be dispatched? And the answer is no. Fewer than 2% of these 988 contacts currently require any type of connection to emergency services like the police. Also, on the flip side, if a caller calls into 911 but they're not in imminent danger, like a suicide attempt is not currently in progress, that 911 call will be then diverted to 988. The 988 hotline is also helpful in diverting calls away from 911 while providing more appropriate support to those experiencing a mental health crisis. And this is important because it creates a trusted outlet for communities where they may not have always had a positive experience with law enforcement. In some communities, the 988 line might be connected with local mobile crisis teams, and it depends what state you're in. Anytime that you reach out to 988, your calls, texts, and chats are confidential. So this means that your information will not be shared without your consent unless you or someone else's safety is in imminent danger. And your chats with 988 are secured with the same type of data protection encryption that major financial institutions use. So how successful is 988? Well, since launching in July 2022, 988 has received over 10 million contacts. So that's 10 million calls, texts, and chats. Now, state-level call volume and in-state answer rates vary widely across the states, and we're going to take a little deeper look at that later on in this video. And in-state answer rate is defined as the percentage of calls that are answered within a state's boundaries. And since launching, the answer rate for 988 has increased along with the surges in outreach volume. So there are more people that are contacting 988 over time since launching in July 2022. And fortunately, they're now spending less time waiting to speak with a counselor. Over time, 988 went from having an answer rate at 70% to then the following year, increasing that to a 93% answer rate, which is amazing. Here on the screen is a bar chart of the monthly contacts, and this is for 3 time periods: before launching 988, 1 year after launch, and then 2 years after launch. So we can see that the volume of outreach has increased over time, but so has the answer rate. And this is another way to display that over time. We can see that the total contacts per month are about almost 550,000. And this, we see also the point in time where the outreach has increased, and we can see like a clear distinction between before and after 988 has been launched. Like we said before, in-state answer rate varies state by state. So I wanted to include an example here of the answer rate for 988 varying by states. This is as recent as May 2024 from Axios, and they're utilizing 988 reported data. And we can see here how varied the answer rates are. Here on the screen, we see Virginia's answer rate was about 83%, which is almost as close to the 89% national average at the time of this data capture. You may be asking yourself, why do different states have different in-state answer rates? And the answer is that there are different factors that can affect a state's in-state answer rate. And one of the largest reasons is funding. And this includes how much funding a state is investing into their call centers, and also how long the state has been investing in its local call centers or just also broader crisis services. There are only 10 states that, through my research, I've found that have identified permanent funding for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline in their communities. Sustainable funding for 988 is really important in maintaining those improved call response answer rates. And one of the ways that states have considered to do this is through funding a telecom fee for 988 that's similar to the 911 surcharge. Experts say that this type of surcharge can help policymakers to keep pace with that growing mental health crisis and contact rate that we had seen previously in the figures over time. Taking a look at the numbers from the National Alliance of Mental Illness, also known as NAMI, from their Reimagined Crisis Response, and looking at the state legislation by numbers, we can see here the breakdown. And one of the biggest callouts is 10 states have a 988 surcharge fee, and there's different ways that states are trying to secure permanent and sustainable funding for 988 as a resource. 9 states have created a 988 advisory board, 15 states established a trust fund, 10 states have strengthened insurance coverage in general for crisis care, and 7 states are studying the gaps in financing 988 as well as just the capacity of their crisis systems. So now that we've learned more about 988 on this very special day, if you find yourself interested in taking action, there are different ways that you can take action to reimagine crisis in your communities. For more information, you can check out this website that I've listed here, and I'll also link it in the description of this video. On this website, you can learn more about state level 988 legislation, and if you're in one of those states which does not have permanent secured funding for 988, there are different ways that you can contact your local and state legislators to advocate for funding. You also can, through this resource, share your crisis or 988 Lifeline story. I personally have utilized 988 in my own life when I had been going through emotional crisis as well, when I had been worried about a loved one. And like this picture says, everyone experiencing a mental health crisis deserves a mental health response. Thanks so much for watching my video and learning more about 988. Please feel free to post your questions or thoughts about 988 in the comments below. If you're new here, welcome. Please feel free to subscribe if you're interested in the videos that I'm creating about suicide prevention and public health topics in general, or if you're interested in my videos about dance. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye!